salir a vender, a que la gente nos conozca. Eso fue muy difícil para nosotros.
So the next challenge for us was figuring out where to sell our textiles. We didn't know how to access people, where the markets were, sort of how to, how to get our products out there so people would know that we existed. Sit, it's probably a lot easier than standing.
Conocimos a un maestro de una universidad de la Ciudad de México. Él fue el primero que nos invitó para poder llevar nuestros productos y exhibirlo en esa escuela.
So we got our first break with a professor from the UNAM, from the National University of Mexico, who brought us to Mexico City and facilitated a space for us to sell for the first time our weavings there in Mexico City, outside of Teotitlan.
Y entonces, nosotras así empezamos a salir, porque nosotros en nuestra comunidad no éramos bien vistas de que las mujeres salieran, entonces la autoridad, una vez que nos organizamos, nos presentamos en una asamblea donde se nombran autoridades, porque ninguna mujer asiste a una asamblea. Cuando se nombran autoridades se hace una reunión a las 10 de la noche, terminan a la 1 de la mañana.
So one of the other things we did as a group was we went to the municipal, like the county authorities. This is me talking. Teotitlan is a county, like a county seat. And there's actually, it's unusual, there's only one other community affiliated with it that's called an agencia, Santiaguito. But in a lot of Oaxaca communities, the municipio is the county seat, and then there may be 10, 12, even 13 other smaller communities that sort of report to that level. But these are the elected authorities in the assembly I was talking about. So they went to these authorities, and they went for the first time as women in a community assembly. And they were the first ones to do this. I was there when it happened. It was quite revolutionary.
Y entonces nuestra primera reunión que asistimos, pues los hombres que estaban allí no nos aceptaban que estuviéramos en ese lugar y nos tuvimos que regresar.
The first time we went, the men who were there, they didn't accept our presence, so we had to leave and we had to come back again.
Tardaron como unos 5 años más, volvimos a regresar y entonces
5 years later, we went back.
Ahorita en las asambleas donde se nombran autoridades, a veces hay más mujeres que hombres.
Okay, here's the update. And now, in the community assemblies where the local officials are named, remember all those volunteer jobs I talked about?
Yeah.
She says now, often there are more women than men. That's a sea change.
Pues esos han sido nuestros logros y ahorita a través de la cooperativa aprendemos a salir, a poder comercializar, a poder conocer otras cosas que en nuestra niñez pues no sabíamos.
So that's one of our accomplishments, but we've learned how to leave the community, we've learned how to sell our products, we've learned self-confidence, and of course, women being in assemblies. These are all things that never happened, when I was growing up. She was
Ahorita hemos tenido la oportunidad de llevar nuestros productos a Chicago, a España, a Ciudad de México, Francia.
We've been able to take our products to Chicago, to Spain, to France, other parts of Mexico. The first sort of international place we went was France.
No sé si alguien tiene una pregunta.
Do you have any questions before we start talking about the sort of process of producing textiles? Preguntas?
How was it for them in the beginning to negotiate time to do their craft within their family structure?
¿Cómo hicieron en la familia para negociar el tiempo para tejer, para sacar paquetes para la cooperativa?
Pues como siempre ha sido nuestro trabajo y además, por ejemplo, cuando tejemos no solamente nos dedicamos a tejer. Tenemos que criar pollos, sembrar hortalizas, sembrar flores, todo lo que se pueda vender para ayudar a
It's not so much that that was a new thing. Women have been weaving here since probably the 70s, and in fact they always knew how to weave, but a majority of the weaving was done by men. So within their families, doing the weaving was not the hard part. And she said, you know, we don't just weave, we sort of multitask. We like raise chickens, we cook, we do, you know, we have all these other ways that we have of earning money, income, and the textiles is just one of those.
Creo que el reto más fue negociar poder salir.
Poder salir, sí, sí. Para, o sea, que nuestras familias nos dejaran salir a la ciudad.
Okay.
Sí.
The bigger challenge was in our families negotiating so that they would let us leave to go, you know, to Oaxaca or other places.
Porque aquí se acostumbra que se pide permiso, ¿no?
Sí, aquí no, o sea, una mujer tiene que pedir permiso para poder salir. No puede irse y regresar.
So here, you know, the custom is that women ask permission to leave. They don't just like go. They of their husbands. Other questions?
Out of curiosity, how did the men's roles change during this, and what adaptations did they make?
Él quiere saber cómo tenían que cambiar los hombres cuando las mujeres salen, cómo se adaptaron los hombres.
Pues viendo de que era también un apoyo para ellos en poder vender nuestro propio producto, entonces llevar un dinero más a la casa.
Well, we finally convinced, you know, the way we convinced them was that they saw when we left, we did really well in selling our stuff, so we brought money back to the household, which supported them.
And them in doing what? That's what I'm trying to figure out, is what do the men do now that they're not out there selling this money and leaving?
Quieren saber si las mujeres están tejiendo, qué hacen los hombres. Okay. Siguen tejiendo los hombres.
Siguen tejiendo los hombres. Sí.
So men are still weaving. I mean, in most families, everybody's weaving. Small children usually work preparing bobbins, which are used when you see the loom, which you'll see here, and in Paco's house. A lot of these textiles, you know, they have like maybe 10, 12 different colors in patterns, and each color is wound onto a bobbin about the size of my finger. And children, that's the first thing they learn how to do. It's sort of like feeding the loom and spinning. So most children, I have some godchildren from Teotitlan who live outside of Portland. My goddaughter's 11 and her little brother is 6. And he just sold his first weaving, actually in Eugene where I live. There's something called the Black Sheep Textile Show. And his dad and he came down and he has a little loom. And, you know, so age 6, he made, you know, they kept his first weaving, but his second weaving he sold. And I talked to him on the phone just last week. He was very proud of this, that he had sold his first weaving. So, you know, people learn really pretty young. And in most families, you know, kids, they come home from school, they're going to weave for a while, or they're going to do other kinds of chores.
First of all, it's an inspiring story. I want to tell her.
Le inspira mucho la historia de la cooperativa.
It's amazing. Yeah, thank you.
Es increíble.
Really inspiring. And I wonder if there's any, because of the sort of voice and representation that the women had through their textiles, did that translate to any other initiatives or issues in the community with regards to women?
Quiere saber si, bueno, ese logro que las mujeres ahora sí van a las asambleas y ganaron un espacio, ¿hay otros logros para mujeres que están relacionados con esta comunidad?
Sí.
De salud, no sé.
Sí, pues a través de esto, pues las mujeres, porque nosotras cuando iniciamos, pues no sabíamos muchas cosas, nuestros derechos, la salud reproductiva de la mujer, la violencia. A través de la cooperativa solicitamos talleres que nos pudieran explicar, ¿no? Cuáles eran nuestros derechos, cuáles eran nuestros, por ejemplo, las enfermedades y todo eso. Entonces, a través de eso fuimos transmitiendo a otras mujeres.
So the question was, what other kinds of gains or things have women achieved out of this, winning this space in the Community Assembly? And Josefina said, well, we started learning about reproductive rights. We started learning about our rights not to have violence committed against us. And our cooperative, because we've made connections with outside groups, we brought people in to do workshops for us and for other women, and then we transmit these ideas to other women in